This is the attack method of two-dimensional creatures. At the moment of contact, the woman quickly fell into the second dimension until her entire body was turned into 2 dimensions. Clara heard the scream and rushed over to check, but only found the flashlight dropped by the woman. Suddenly, the doctor discovered that something on the wall was a little bit wrong. Quickly told Clara that the pattern on the wall was actually a 2-dimensional nervous system, and the yellow wall was her skin. At this moment, the door was suddenly closed, and the companions found that the door handle was also turned into a 2-dimensional plane. Then the whole room began to turn into 2-dimensional plane. However, the doctor, the only one who could save them, encountered even bigger trouble. Just now, the doctor was planning to send Clara home, but they found that the door of the TARDIS had been reduced by 1/3. Fortunately, the TARDIS could still barely accommodate one person in and out. Looking at the TARDIS that had suddenly shrunk, the doctor was very excited, because there were so few things that could make him feel incredible. He asked Clara to go nearby to see if there were any abnormal events, while he prepared to repair the TARDIS. But at this moment, there was another strong vibration, and the doctor reacted and found that the door of the TARDIS had become smaller again. At the same time, Clara learned from Rigsy that there have been many disappearances in this town recently, and the silhouettes of those missing people would appear in this tunnel simultaneously. Clara suddenly realized that something was wrong, but when she rushed back, she was surprised to find that the TARDIS was gone. Then she looked down and found that the TARDIS had become the size of a palm. Clara suddenly found it very funny, but the doctor who couldn't get out couldn't laugh. Being able to change the external dimension of TARDIS means that there is a very powerful thing nearby. Only by finding it can we know what happened. But everything depends on Clara, and the doctor can only provide her with help through headphones. In order to find clues in the homes of the missing persons, Clara used psychic paper to fool the police. After listening to the case, the doctor suddenly realized that these people disappeared at home. Generally speaking, there are only 2 explanations for a closed-room disappearance case. First, the victim is still in the room, and second, the victim is in the wall. At this moment, the police received a call from their superior and came to the next room, but the next moment, something seemed to move on the wall. When the police checked, something on the ground approached her. Suddenly, the 2-dimensional creature had touched the police. Clara heard the scream and rushed to check immediately, but the police was no longer in the room. Just as Clara turned around, the doctor keenly discovered something. He told Clara that the pattern on the wall was actually a 2-dimensional nervous system, that is, the policeman who just disappeared. The one who could do this must be a 2-dimensional creature. They are testing and analyzing the 3-dimensional world. At this moment, the door was suddenly closed, and Rigsy found that the door handle was also turned into a 2-dimensional plane. Then the whole room began to turn into 2-dimensional, and if Clara was contacted by them, everything would be over. Realizing the danger, the 2 people immediately jumped onto the hammock. Clara immediately used the sonic screwdriver and finally flew out of the window at the critical moment. The doctor excitedly told Clara that those creatures must have come from a 2-dimensional universe after a dimensional war. The dimensional attack just now also explained the disappearances in the town, and the murals in the tunnel were the missing people who were transformed into 2 dimensions.